behind them contacts, you have to, you must, that's why I put must in this in big letters, because this is the part that y'all forget. You must read and watch the news or publications you want to be in with intention, all right? Like I said, my grandma watched the news all day, every day, so she can tell us, because every time something breaks out in Atlanta, I promise y'all, I don't know. She always calls me like, hey, where you at? This is happening in Atlanta. I'm like, all right, cool. That's 10 miles from me, right? Or actually, that's next door. When the protests were going on last year, it was outside my door. I had no clue because I hadn't watched the news. I hadn't been on social media. Found out because my grandma called me. So good job, Grandma Lynn. Do your thing. But you have to read and watch these publications with intention. Here's the thing, and this is what I want you to really think about. Because you put some of your dream publications down, and you put Essence, and you put Forbes, and Entrepreneur, and the Wall Street Journal, and the New York Times. But let me ask you this. Outside of the fact that when somebody you know, one of your friends or one of your Facebook buddies is in those publications, how often do you go to the store and pick up an Entrepreneur magazine and read it from cover to cover? How often do you go to the New York Times website and just read? Or if you're in New York, do you actually buy the paper? How often do you read Black Enterprise's website? I would say probably about 10% of the time, or 10% of the people actually do that. Most people just want to be on publications so that they can be popular. But that's not how you grow a business. Being popular will not grow your business. Social proof alone will not grow your business. The intention behind being popular and building your social proof is what is going to move the needle. And so you need to consider, am I paying attention to the publications that I want to get access to with intention? So that means I know what type of content they put out. Even though I do not accept pitches, I get them all the time, and I'm always like, clearly these people know nothing about me, because if they did, they would know that they're wasting their time emailing me. Most of the time I respond, right? So you need to read these publications with intention so that you know exactly what you're getting into. Don't just want to be on a publication just because the cool kids are doing it, just because that's what you think you need to do to make money. It's not. Let me tell you. Being in Forbes magazine will not make you a millionaire. It would not grow your business to 6 or 7 figures. There's other work that has to be done. Can it help? Absolutely. That's what I get paid for, because I like to help the effort. But just doing that by itself is not going to move the needle for you. All right? So I'm pretty sure y'all got number 1. Let's go ahead and dig into number 2. Before you decide you want to be on a particular platform, ask yourself why. I just kind of hinted to some of that in number 1. Like, what is your reason for saying, I want to be on the cover of Forbes magazine? For why? That is not correct English, but for why? Like, what do you want to be on Forbes for? What do you want CNN to talk to you about? What do you want 11 Alive to talk to you about? Most people never even think about that. I say, hey, if you had the ability to purchase the biggest billboard in New York Times, or what is it, not New York Times, Times Square. I enjoyed being there because all the lights, it was just so exciting. If you could purchase the biggest billboard for a week, let's just say next week, what would you put on that billboard? What would you want the people passing by, or the news and media, or the people taking pictures, what would you want them to see, and why? If you can't answer that question, you need to be getting some clarity on your messaging. You need to be getting some clarity on your why. You need to be getting some clarity on how this can actually help support my business and move the needle. Not just because, oh, it's Times Square. Everybody wants to be in Times Square. Well, everybody want to be a millionaire, but we see that ain't happening. So you have to make it make sense. Is that the new thing they saying? Make it make sense, whatever that means. But in this context, you have to make it make sense for what you're doing. Number 3. Let's go ahead and dig into number 3. The easiest way, and let me tell you, I've only paid for a contact sourcing database once in 5 years. I've only been in business 5 years, y'all. 5. Not 25, not 15. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. That's all, right? Go to social media. If you are going to spend your time scrolling and swiping and talking your head off on Clubhouse, the least you can do is to do it with some intention. Most of the reporters and the writers that you're looking for, excuse me, they actually put their contact information on their bios. They actually put their contact information on their website. But what we fail to do is to use it. Like number 3 says, go find their contact information on social, go follow them, and then actually engage with them. Remember that social part I was telling y'all about at the beginning? Like talking to people and retweeting them and talking back and commenting. Yeah, that's that part. That's what gets people paying attention to you, so that when you do reach out and you do DM them and ask them if it's okay for you to send them a pitch, or you do send them a pitch and you say, hey, you know, we've been connecting on on Twitter for some time, and I know that you cover women in business, or I know that you cover wine products, and I know that you're a foodie, so am I. I want to share this with you. You need to make sure that you find the contacts that you need to be talking to, and you need to know what type of content that they put out. So when you send them the pitch, you're not wasting your time. Because formulating the pitch is not all the time easy. Follow them and get their contact information. Put it in a spreadsheet. Google Sheets is my favorite. I don't use Excel because it is too complicated. Again, I told y'all, numbers is really not my thing. And so Excel, automatically, I'm thinking accounting, and I'm like, I don't want no parts. So Google Sheets, put their name, their email, what platform you got it from. You can even put notes or links to their articles and things that you've read. That way, you have something to reference when you actually reach out to pitching them. Number 4. You can find these contacts on these websites and these publication mastheads. That's what they're called. Like, if you pick up a magazine you have right now, towards the front of it, it'll have everybody's name who contributed to that magazine, up from the editor-in-chief, which y'all know, we got 2 editor-in-chiefs with us this weekend, from Entrepreneur Magazine and from Success Magazine. Both of those are decades on decades brands, right? They have all their information. Sometimes it has their social, and most of them have their emails. If you don't have the print magazine, go to the website, and where they say, you may see teams, some publications or some websites say masthead, go there to find out. It'll say editor of finance or VP of finance. It'll say communications and marketing. It'll say graphic design. That's how you find the contacts. Once you see the name and you get the contact, I do not recommend reaching out immediately. Again, use your good sense. Go to social media. Start following these people. Go to LinkedIn, because I know with Clubhouse, y'all forgot how important LinkedIn is. Go to LinkedIn, go to Twitter, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, and follow them so you can start consuming their personal content, their personal thoughts and views, so that you can use it to your advantage. And number 5. Follow the breadcrumbs, which are the leads. If you're on the online business space, you know we talk about leads all day, every day. So follow the breadcrumbs. So what do you mean by that, Maleeka? I'm glad you asked. Here's the thing. Every time someone that you know or follow posts that they are speaking at an event, doing a podcast, they just got a mention over here, they got a feature over there, they just got a dope brand collaboration, and then they thank somebody for doing it. Those are your breadcrumbs. When they share those links, your job is to go to the link, see who wrote it, write that person, put their name in your spreadsheet, right? And say, okay, they published this article on this person. Let me go see what else they write about. Because they may write about what I'm doing or what I want to do. Your job is to pick up the breadcrumbs. I tell people who, especially people who want to get book speaking engagements, I was like, well, how do you find events you want to speak at? And they were like, well, I don't know where to find them. Well, how do you know that events have speakers? Because I see them all the time. Well, do you ever take a moment to go to the events websites, or to go to, I think it's called not Meetup. I think it's the meetup.com or whatever, and go look at the events and see who's hosting the events. Do you reach out to the host? Every time somebody is speaking at an event that I know that I want to speak at one day, I go and see, all right, who's the host? Is this an annual event? Is it biannual? Is it quarterly? Because that way I put it, excuse me, on my radar to then be able to go back and follow up. So I know most people, by this time it's January, any events that's happening Q1, Q2 pretty much is almost set, unless it's a pop-up. And so I know if it's an annual event, I'm looking at next year and I'm like, hey host, you may have already chosen your speakers to 2022, but just in case you haven't, I want to make sure you put me on the waiting list, because this is what I do. This is what value I can bring. I'm open to discuss. Here's my email. Here's my number. Let's keep in contact. I followed you on all your social medias. It's that simple. Sometimes we overthink it and think, oh, I got to write a book. I got to go to 12 events so I can speak at it. No, you don't. Not at all. You just have to be smart about the way you do it. Also, to add to that, with the media publications, when people know that you've read their work and that you valued it and you didn't just read the first line, but you read the whole thing, they actually want to read the rest of what you have to say. And so, make sure, like number 5 says, follow the breadcrumbs. It saves you a lot of time, energy, and effort to just see what are other people doing? Where are other people getting featured? Who is that reporter? Who is that contributor? Who is that publicist? What else have they done? Go to other people's websites and click on their links. When they say they got a feature, go find out who wrote it. It's not cheating. It's called being smart. That's what I do day in and day out. When I say, all right, I'm done with my own research, let me go see what everybody else is doing. That is what I'm doing. All right, that makes sense for you? So now you know how to find the contact.